So, welcome to Walpole United WFC. Hello and welcome to Walpole United with me, John Foster, MUFC. Slightly later tonight, all because we managed to get Simon on the show. Welcome back to the show, Simon. How are you?
Doing good, John. Thanks for having me. Nat, it's great to see you as well, and looking forward to talking about United, everything about United. Really, it's an absolute pleasure to be on, and I'll always relish the opportunity for you guys to have me on.
Yeah, brilliant. I know you've been on a couple of times, but Natalie, you okay, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing good, John. Good to be back on the Thursday, regular.
And it was a good show that you did last night as well. If anyone missed it, check it out. Just for anyone who's at home who didn't see that one, what was it about?
It's about the Spanish league, so it's about Spanish women's football getting better and better. I think we saw last night Real Madrid beat. Well, if you didn't know, Real Madrid beat Man City. Obviously, United fans were happy, but it just shows Spanish league is starting to grow, starting to get a bit dominant now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and just very quickly, Simon, on that shock result yesterday, what were your thoughts on City crashing out of Europe?
To be quite frankly, there's kind of mixed emotions. Of course, with City, we never want them to do anything substantial. But of course, seeing Bunny, making her Champions League debut and being able to bow to this stage, it would have been all right if she went a bit further in the competition, like the group stages or even the quarterfinals, and then go out. But just to have 2 games under her belt was disappointing from that perspective. But she's young. She's 24. She'll have a bright future ahead of her. Hopefully, she'll have success after City, perhaps, if she goes on to maybe perhaps Barcelona or United one day. But yeah, hopefully it's an opportunity for her to really gel into the English football this season.
Well, we've seen a couple of City players jump from the blue side to the red side, so maybe down the line, Bunny can be one of them. And maybe we could touch on Bunny a little bit later as well. But first of all, just how's your summer been, doing what you're doing? And for people who don't know you, just kind of explain what you've been up to this summer.
Yeah, I would say it's quite busy from that perspective, despite the different lockdown measures that might be on the island and different activities. The Olympic Games was centre stage, of course, so Jamaica was quite busy with athletic side of things. But on the football side of things, it's more about preparation towards the World Cup qualifiers on the men's side. And of course, the women's side as well, coming up in November, that getting the players together and in a sense, getting the research done for the coaching staff in really getting to know the English-born players of Jamaican heritage in the WSL and, of course, in the Premier League on the men's side of things. So organising the data, the names and all of that. So that's really been a lot of time from the summer. But we've come down with a list of names, and I'm sure throughout the course of the discussion we'll be able to pen down and what some of the names that Jamaica has been looking at, both on the men's and also the women's side.
Yeah, we'll have to definitely do a show on that when you get some information on it as well, won't we? Nat, I mentioned summer, but like our summer's gone now, so we're firmly into the new season. Just what are your thoughts just on that first week? What are your thoughts on United and our rivals?
Yeah, it looks good. I think United looked good on Friday night. Everton, a lot of talk was about them, but City sort of blew them away. But then City looked quite poor versus Real Madrid, so it swings and roundabouts. I think Arsenal have probably been the one to shock everyone, because I think there was a lot of talk they weren't, they hadn't beaten big teams for a while, and they obviously had a shock result against Chelsea women. Is this the beginning of the end of Chelsea's dominance? Who knows? But I think it's going to be a tight league. I don't think it's going to be, I think the top 3 will be, obviously looking to hold on, but I think there's going to be a lot of pressure from outside. I think the top 3 will move about regularly. It's not just going to be like Chelsea sitting up there at the top all the time or Arsenal sitting up there. I think the 3 or the 4 will fluctuate. And it's just about who's the most consistent. That's what it's about in the Premier League. And that's what it's going to be now about in the WSL.
Do you agree with that, Simon? Can you see that top 3 being like a strong top 3 and then just like fluctuating with maybe us getting in there as well at some points? But do you kind of see a team that's going to run away with it, or do you think it's going to be a lot more tighter this year?
I do expect it to be much tighter. It was disappointing, especially the start we had last season, to go 10 unbeaten and then sort of slip away in the March, April sort of window. I do expect, the top three, the City, United, and also Chelsea. But my dark horse for the season would have to be Brighton because of the recruitment that they've done. They're not one of the more financially stable clubs, you could say, but what they've done quite well is what I sort of like is the data side of things. They look at the players in terms of their numbers and really get down to the nitty gritty of how they've been able to manage things, especially from the second tier. So I think for them that would be my sort of dark horse. I don't expect them to come in the top four, but certainly fifth from last season. They'll have high expectations to come within closing distance of the Champions League places. So I would put them as my dark horse for the season to really challenge for the European places. But I expect United to be in the mix of things with Arsenal, City, and of course Chelsea for those top four. I don't expect the top four to change.
I think that's interesting because not many people have mentioned Brighton at all, have they? And it's funny because Anthony, who's comments on screen right now, is from that neck of the woods. So, and he's been watching them play, and he obviously saw them last week and predicted that they would do well as well. And for anyone who hasn't seen Anthony's show, every Friday midday, check him out. He's not live; it's a pre-recorded show, but it tells you a little bit about some percentages of certain things happening in games. So check out that show every Friday at midday. Go on, Natalie.
Yeah, well, Brighton are one of those teams that you just, they beat us, they beat Chelsea, so they can cause an upset. And I think that's what makes leagues more exciting when you do see teams such as Brighton taking points off the top, the established teams. And I just want to touch on two players. I don't know if Simon knows much about it, but Danielle Carter, obviously they got her in, and Babajide. And obviously Carter has played before for England, and Babajide, I think, has played one or two, but it's been out for a while. I don't know if that's like maybe someone that I don't know if they could, but Jamaica would look at, say, a Babajide, say if she didn't, I don't know her heritage fully, but I don't know if that's sort of one, because I think Brighton and Villa are going to be the ones to watch this season.
Yeah, I'm aware of Babajide. From her side of things, it's Nigerian heritage, not Jamaican. So it'll be interesting to see the sort of battle that she would have between England and also from Nigeria. But I've been impressed by the new Korean signing who was at City a couple of seasons, Lee Go-min. She has really hit the ground running, and you could see that in the game against West Ham, the sort of form that she is in. So I expect her to be that sort of bright spark for the season. But I'd say from a Jamaican perspective, the WSL is going to get more coverage. Of course, we have BBC on the island, and BBC will be showing some of the games. And bearing in mind, it's not only Bunny as a Jamaican in the league, Drew Spence at Chelsea. In addition to that, Hales also at Aston Villa, Rebecca Spencer at Tottenham. So quite a number of Jamaicans in the league. So I expect the viewership to go up for the league, which I think bodes well for the women's game, especially within England.
Yeah, I agree. I want to talk to as much as I can because I know that you're with us for about 30 to 40 minutes or however long you are. So I want to try and get as many subjects in as I can. Obviously, the summer that we had. So we'll start off with the summer and then we'll go into maybe the expectations throughout the season. What do you think of, first of all, LJ leaving, because we discussed it last time he was on the show, and then also the players who have come in. So let's just like kind of talk to you a little bit about LJ first.
Yeah, to me, I'm not sure what was the surprise of the summer for me. Was it getting in Mark Skinner or was it LJ leaving? For me, I would say LJ leaving kind of broke my heart in a sense because of we really made her one of our own. I mean, Nat can tell you as an individual that has gone to the games and how she has spoken so highly of LJ and what she was able to do. I felt that United was the perfect place for her to flourish, even if in her 20s she would move on elsewhere. For her to make that transition from her teenage years into her early 20s, I still felt that United was the perfect platform for her. At Arsenal, she wasn't getting any playing time, rarely. And at United, she was starting to flourish, and you could see her performances, especially within the league, averaging basically a goal every other game in a sense. So I really felt that this was the opportunity for her. Of course, with her brother being in London and family members there as well, you could understand the reasoning behind it. But I felt that Manchester was certainly a home for her. So her leaving, it's disappointing. I'm not sure the sort of reaction she's going to get at Chelsea when, of course, United plays Chelsea. I don't expect her to be booed because she has been a good example for the club. But it'll be interesting the sort of reaction and the reception that she will get, of course, having played for United, even when we were in the Championship in 2018, 2019, and she scored key goals for us as well. So for me to see her leave, it has left a bitter taste. But I do think that some of the individuals that we have brought into the squad are individuals that can make a massive difference, especially Martha. Yeah, I like the sort of high press that she brings to the game, and with Toon up top as well. I think the sort of creativity that she can bring can really bring the difference this season. And I'm sure later in the discussion we'll have our views about the manager, but I think there's reason for optimism within the squad.
Just touching on that one, Nat, regarding LJ, it's a good question to ask. I mean, when some of our players leave, obviously when they come back, will they get booed? I think if she got booed at LSV, it would only be for the 90 minutes pantomime. I don't think there'll be any meaning behind it. There's players that will come back, or they have been back in the past where there is actually some emotion behind it. I think if LJ was to get booed, I think it would just be pantomime. I don't think she will get booed. But what are your thoughts on that, Nat?
Yeah, I don't think so. Well, I won't boo her. That's what I'm saying. Like, for me, I know Simon, and me and Simon have had, YouTube videos. She's like my little sister. So obviously, I know everyone doesn't feel that strongly like I feel about LJ. But, I'm agreeing with Vicky really here. I am worried about her. I think even me and you, Simon, we had that conversation about wanting to see her develop. These are the key years. I think she's about 19, 20 now. But you would have thought, 2 more years at United. 21 age, 22, then go off to Chelsea. And it means you would have got a bigger signing on fee, even if she did it for free or anything. But I think there was a lot of drive to get her to Chelsea now. And I don't understand it, because then we're saying that she's on the bench and there's talk that she's not going to play. And there's talk that, like what Vic said, maybe a loan to sort of like West Ham or Spurs. Not that it wouldn't be good, because I think she'll get regular playing time at any of those teams, but you'd rather be at Man United than Spurs getting regular playing time. And like you say, a goal per game. Here it's just no, I won't be. And like you said, she's a kid wanting to go home. I get that, but it could have been like Cristiano Ronaldo. We saw it, and then give him a few more years, and he got his move. Whereas LJ, she's gone now. I worry for her. I do. I wonder when she is going to play. But it's Chelsea's problem now, isn't it? And I just hope that we still see the best of LJ, even though she's not playing now. I still hope she can be the player that I know that she is.
So, I mean, you mentioned Martha Thomas as one of the players to come in. We've also brought in Mannion, and we've seen a bit more of Maria as centre-backs. What are your thoughts on this? Because our centre-backs do seem to have changed a lot since last summer. All of a sudden, it's gone from Turner and Turner to, in the last game, Maria and Mannion. One, are you kind of surprised about that? Or two, what are your thoughts? Is this going to be our future this season, do you think?
Regarding how we played against Reading, it didn't surprise me, because I'm aware of Mark Skinner and what he did when he was over in America at Orlando Pride, because he had a couple of Jamaicans with him as well, some that went to the World Cup, and he's dealt with some decent characters as well, the likes of Marta and Alex Morgan and Sidney Leroux. So he's dealt with big characters with egos as well. So I didn't have a problem with him coming in as manager, but the system, some may say 4-2-3-1, some may say 4-3-3. It didn't surprise me to see how we set up. But one glaring, mistake that I think might be an issue throughout the course of the season is sometimes the space that we give the opposition. And we saw that with Reading when they hit the crossbar after we took the lead early on. So it happened over in America, where there wasn't a lot of clean sheets that Mark got when he was managing Orlando. A lot of games were like 4-3, 3-2, 2-1. So I'm happy that we started the season on a good note with that sort of a clean sheet, and of course the 3 points. But I feel that the likes of Zeleman and Risa will have to play an important role in protecting the back four. They're going to have to be tremendously key. I don't think that we can have perhaps just one in front of the back four. I do think that two will be necessary. Of course, you'll have the odd game where you'll have to mix things up a bit, but I do think you're going to need two in front of the back four.
I think we've seen that quite a bit at the moment, haven't we, Nat? That kind of setup there. Just going back to the centre-back pairing though, Nat. Obviously, we looked really strong against Reading. We hardly put a foot wrong. I know there's one instance where the ball could have crossed the line, but generally throughout the 90 minutes, we look quite stable, especially compared to maybe parts of last season. Do you think Mark's come in and he's gone for experience? Do you think he's gone for stability? Do you think he's gone for players who can pass out from the back? Or is it just a case of rotating them? Does he want to see them all? It could just be anything, couldn't it, at this early stage, but we look strong.
Yeah, I mean, the front of this cover, the way we advertise it, had Maria and Manny and about 3 or 4 people, when I posted it on Instagram, have gone, what about Millie? What about Millie? And it's not saying Millie's a bad defender or Millie's not going to get games or this is the end of Millie. It's about, like you say, rotation. It's finding out, figuring it out, testing Millie, pushing her on, making her the player that she can be. Obviously I'm not a manager, so I don't know what fully he's doing, but I'm not sad that Manny and Maria started. I'm happy they've done well, and I agree with Blessing there. Yeah. Should keep them because they've done well, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So keep going. And then I think it's on Millie to earn her spot back, and it is what it is, isn't it? Everyone's. I know James saying they're still out, but for me, Maria was her best performance. I mean, we've talked about, we've had Stu on the show, and we've been on the men's channel for United. I was just talking about bridging the gap, and that's the first time he saw it. And he says Maria was our best centre back. He's never seen her before. He just said, based on that performance, she's the best centre back. So I know people are saying it worries me. I think she's got a point to prove, and she's proving it. She looked good in pre-season. She looked good against Reading. We're playing Leicester next. Why would you change it? But like you say, it's up to the gaffer to make the decisions, and I'm backing whoever is in the centre back position. Millie, Maria, Mannion. I rate them all. I think they're top quality players.
It's great to have competition, isn't it? And all of a sudden now the pressure's a bit more on Millie to make sure she performs every game. And it could just be something as simple as we know Reading's physical, and Maria's got that kind of physical prowess about her, and she did really well. And people in the comments and people all over the stadium said how well Maria did. And I think it's good that she got highlighted because we haven't seen much of Maria just yet, and she was one of the stars of the show. Just sticking with some of the incoming signings, so we got Bagley who come straight in, played in pre-season a little bit, did very well. I think some of the fans were almost expecting her to start against Reading. I don't know if you've seen much of her in the past at all, but she's going to be pushing Mary up this season, isn't she?
Yeah, I think throughout the course of pre-season, it was the opportunity for Mark to really gel into proceedings. We saw what happened, especially with Rangers, where we absolutely blew them apart. And then the following week against Brighton, it was a big cagey affair with Zellum really getting on target with proceedings. I agree with Nat that if it's not broken, then change it. You don't need to change it. And I'm perfectly fine with the setup. My concern is, how are you going to get a lot of these gems into the team, because these are young talents. Some of these 20, 21, when Ivana Fuso is in her last year of her contract. What's going to happen when it comes to that time of the season? Is she going to go on a free? So there's still a lot of discussions with a lot of these young players in the squad. I'm happy that there's youth, and there's youth with like exuberance within the team. And I'll get into an experienced character who United could bring into the fold quite shortly. But if you're looking at the mix-up things, you're talking about Carrie, who's 18. You talk about Alicia, who's 22. Kirsty, who's 23. Leah, who's 27. It's really, really an intriguing sort of mixture of the squad this year. And I still feel that they had a character, not necessarily who might be 30, 35, but somebody with that experience that has been there, done that. It could really be that force that could drive the team towards a piece of silverware this season.
Before I get your thoughts on Hannah Blundell, Natalie, just your thoughts on that regarding the devs coming through, the youngsters coming through. It's still early doors, but Mark's kind of at the moment, kind of practicing what he's preaching. He said that he wants to come in, and he's talked about United in the past and known to bring youngsters through. He's also mentioned that he wants to see everybody. It's a clean slate. He wants to see as many different players as he can. He's doing that at the moment. Do you think he's going to continue to do that and see as many players as he can and bring some of the youngsters through?
Yeah, because that's Man United's DNA. If you're good enough, you're old enough. Doesn't matter the age. I do see what Simon says, and there's talk that we're linked to Stina Blackstenius, Swedish international silver medalist, scored a lot of goals in the Olympics, so that would be good. But yeah, I do think if you're good enough, you're old enough, and I think, like you said, he wants to bring players through. I mean, another young player that I'd like to see come through, and I know I've talked about it a lot, since the time I started watching the under-21 girls, basically Maria Edwards, and the Man United under-21 team beat Liverpool 10-1, and Maria Edwards got 5 goals and 2 assists. So for me, that's the kind of numbers that she posts a lot of times in the 21 league. So if you're scoring goals like that, you've got to be given a chance, even if it's just 1 or 2 games in a League Cup, just to see what you can do for Man United. And I think that once she, maybe gets settled, maybe gets a chance, then that's another young talent. But I do agree with what Simon says. I think where we're pushing for Champions League, you need that experience. I think we did with Preston and Heath, but I think we needed even a bit more then. And because that's sort of why we sort of faded away and maybe fizzled out towards the second half. We didn't have that person who was saying, listen, come on, keep going, dragging us through. So I do see what Simon said. I'd love to hear which names he thinks, because he did sort of make a little hint. But I know we're going to go on to that.
We'll go on to that shortly. Just on that Marie Edwards thing as well, I've always said that when like youngsters come through, men's team or women's team, you've sometimes got to look at not just how good the player is, but the likeliness of them coming into the senior team because of their competition with the senior players. And at the moment, the one area where we are looking fairly weak is on the wings. If Galton or Hanson are injured, you've got to kind of force Tooney out there or force Russo out there. Is this an opportunity now where Maria Edwards is in the right place at the right time? Is this a season where we will get to see a bit more of her? In the Conti Cup, FA Cup, when we're winning a game maybe 2-0 with 20 minutes to go, bring her on. Is this the perfect scenario for Maria this season? I hope so. I think it's set up nicely for her, and she started off, well in her own games as well. So we'll move on to Hannah Blundell, another attacking fullback that we've got. So on her one side, Hannah Blundell the other side. What are your thoughts on our fullbacks this season, Simon?
To be honest with Hannah, I think it's a great acquisition, bearing in mind this is I would say 27 is still young in footballing terms, somewhat to some extent. And to see an individual that has been there, done that, has won league titles amongst many other trophies. My only concern for Hannah is that she has never played 20 games in the league in a season. Going back in previous seasons, like last season at Chelsea, had 8 games in the league, the season before that 8 games, and the season before that 17. So I wonder in terms of her fitness and consistency, can she be able to manage every game if we ask her to do so? I personally expect my back four to remain the same throughout the course of the season. I want that stability. So I'm hoping that throughout the course of this season, she'll be able to carry that through quite well. And of course, you spoke about Anya, the Spaniard. I had the privilege of seeing her at the Under-20 World Cup in France 3 years ago. And I must say, what a goal she did score against Reading. It was absolutely fantastic. Attacking-wise, absolutely brilliant. And I foresee her being one day a Spanish national team captain. That's the sort of character that I see her doing. In terms of concerns for Anya, I would say in terms of header, in the aerial ability, sometimes she might be drawn centrally, so she's going to have to working on those aerial sort of battles for her. But apart from that, moving forward, underlapping, overlapping, I have no concerns with our fullbacks pressing forward. So from the attacking perspective, I think our future is quite bright, and it's good to see that we have 2 gems in the mix.
Very balanced into this season as well. Before where you talked about it maybe like a little bit left-sided. This season it could be right-sided as well, especially the way Hansen started. Nat, do you want to talk a little bit about potential signings or players who could potentially come in as well?
Yeah, and I think Simon knows who I'm going to touch on because I said it earlier, everyone. But Simon shared me a video and it just looked a different class. I shared it on Twitter, but I don't know how many people have seen. I can reshare it after this. But Tiffany Cameron looks like a really good player. But no, I definitely want to hear Simon's perspective. He did touch on experienced players that we might like, but then he did Tiffany is someone as well, Jamaican player, someone who I like to see. I like to see Jamaican players represented at Man United. So definitely I want to hear. It's always transfer season. We never stop, mate. We never stop, Vicky.
That's true. It is true, and there was a genuine chance of money, but it's good that it came down to the wire between City and United for her. Yeah, as it relates to Tiffany, she's 29. She's been there, done that in Europe for quite some time. She's won trophies in Germany. She's done stuff in America as well, and now over in Hungary. Now, many people might say why that sort of chapter for her career. She should really be playing in England based on her ability. It's a journey that she chose for her to prolong her career a little bit because she had some injury concerns early in her career. So she chose this sort of chapter because she felt quite comfortable with it. And last season to now, I would say she's experiencing the peak of her career right now. Last season, she averaged a goal or assist every game, and that was 22 games. And now this season, three games so far, 2 goals and assists. So she's really approaching the peak of her career. she operates on the left-hand side of a front three, so she has that ability to cut in onto her right foot, which is the stronger foot, and be able to shoot or even cross into the box as well. And what I like about her is her versatility to be able to track back deep if necessary as well, and be able to support the left back or right back, whichever side that she's going to be playing. And that's why I feel so highly. She's a United player, and she has that sort of DNA within her, and the sort of character that she is off the pitch as well. She'll only make everybody feel comfortable around her, which is great. She has a year and a half left in her contract over in Hungary, which I feel would be still great for United to come into the picture. Outside of her, from a Jamaican perspective, there's not another forward that I would recommend right now. In terms of where she stacks up, for Jamaica, so Bunny is centrally, and you would have Tiffany Cameron on the right hand side, and we'll have a Jodie Brown on the left hand side, who I've spoken about on this show as well. And why I think it would be a smooth transition if Cameron was in the picture was because she has a Canadian passport, so the work permit situation that Jamaican players would normally have challenges getting into England, that situation would be bypassed, so we wouldn't have that sort of challenge. So that's why I think this player would be a really, really good fit. Right now, she said that she is comfortable within Hungary, but you can't say no to United if they make the call, you know.
We love it. We love it. Transfer season every day.
Anyone else? Anyone else you want to ask?
No, that's good. No, that's good. That's good. It's just good hearing of Jamaican girls smashing it in Europe.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we can say that Bunny is a United fan at heart. So even though she's on the blue side, she's a United fan at heart. And Nat can tell us about the conversations they had on Instagram, because Nat and Bunny are big friends now.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll be seeing her at the game when we play City. So yeah, I'll be letting her know. We know you're a Red.
Yeah. She still has family in Longsight and Withenshaw, who are big Reds as well. So yeah, she'll be.
I'm sure she'll be told. Yeah.
Guys, hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed the show, and thank you again, Simon, for sparing us some time. Just before you go, I still want to talk about Skinner. I want to talk about your expectations of United this season, and then if we get a chance, just your thoughts on Bunny's start to the season and potentially how she's going to do this season, and then I'll let you go. So we'll start off with Mark Skinner. I think he's took the fans. I think I want to say he's took our breath away, but he's definitely got us on board at least. I'm a massive fan of his, and I know a lot of people are warming to him. What was the thought outside of England on that appointment?
I must say that it was sort of mixed views about his appointment, especially bearing in mind that, yes, he did decently well in the academy system at Birmingham City, but going for a manager that didn't particularly have the best of records over in America, it caught a lot of people by surprise. But I personally didn't see an issue with it, knowing how he sets up his teams, and that's why I'm confident that, at least from a defensive perspective, United will be solid. It's the attacking perspective. Can we get those through balls quite well? We'll have players that will run the channels, but can we get that clinical ability in front of goal? So that is my concern. I saw his interview that MUTV put out. That's the only thing that I'm a bit kind of disappointed with him. He mentioned the word process quite often, and for United fans, it's not something that we're used to. We want to get that success. We want to get that piece of silverware, and he kept using the word process, as if we have to wait 2-3 seasons. So that was the only thing I disliked from the interview that he did after the Reading game. But if it means we have to be patient towards getting to where we want to be for next season, then fine, so be it. But I do believe that the sort of character he is, because he has worked with Jamaican internationals in the past, with the way that he runs his training sessions, it's high intensity, a lot of running, a lot of sprints, and sometimes players don't see the ball in terms of a rondo and so on until the middle of the week. So at least he'll get a fit team together. So I'm really pleased where that is concerned. So expectations for the season, right now, I would say top 3 right now. In January, we could have another conversation. Right now, I think it's realistic for us to say top 3. That could change if we get a couple of faces in, or if City or Chelsea has a couple of slips or injuries. But right now, I'd say 3rd is realistic for United's perspective. Yeah.
I agree with that. I agree with 3rd. I think let's go for it. Why not? We've got nothing to lose. We need to, like say, we expect to win. And I think those expectations will be known to him. I think when he talks about red wave and fans and this and that, but when there's points in the game, fans are going attack. So he's going to know that he's under a pressure. You know, obviously we'll be patient. No one's sort of saying go and win the Champions League tomorrow or anything like that. But, you know, like you say, Man United is built on a rich history of success. That's what we want. The women's team had success in the first season. It's now the fourth season in. We do need some kind of silverware. Like I said, a League Cup. We've talked about finals here, going to Wembley. Things like that is what sort of, not say bide your time, but, you know, you want people to be on your side. So go out there, you know, make a final, get a League Cup or something. Then that would be like, right, okay, we can see the process, you know. Process with a bit of silverware on the way keeps United fans happy. So no, I think he's definitely won me round. I was sort of the same as Simon. I was a bit like, oh, look at his Orlando record, but I think he's done well in England. I think a lot of English journalists talk really highly of him. I had Rich Lafferty on who talked very, very highly and sort of explained how it is different at NWSL and WSL. I think Casey might find it hard out there as well. I don't think it's going to be sort of a walk in the park for any English coach. And I think maybe he had that view that he was going to change everything, and he was sort of given a rude awakening. He's back home now, back with his family. That might be better for him as well. It was a pandemic. But yeah, no excuses. It was very poor in Orlando, and it's about doing a lot better now here at Man United because it's a lot bigger and there's a lot more expectation at Man United than there is at Orlando or Birmingham City.
Well said.
I think what I like about Mark Skinner in his interviews in reference to his record at Orlando is he's very honest. I think he's very open, and he's admitted that he's learned a lot of things from there. I think I've seen at least 2 interviews where he's referenced that. And I think what I do like as well is the fact that he's sticking to his guns. He's got a philosophy, or he's got a target in mind, and it's not quite worked at Orlando, but he can manipulate it and adapt it to what suits United. And I think that's the way I would defend him. You know, just because he's done something at Birmingham or at Orlando, it's a completely different game now. You know, he's got different players, different expectations, different backing, different board. It's almost like a different job, you know. So for me, we talk about process. Process is, you know, it's ingrained in our heads at Man United at the moment. The process is like 2 or 3 years long. It might not be that case at Man United women. It might be 2 or 3 seasons to get Champions League final or win a title, maybe. But it all depends on what your expectation is. Should it take 2 or 3 seasons to break into the top 3? No, you know, it might do, but it shouldn't. You know, at the moment we're top, not top of the league, but we played one, won one. You know, the next game, play one, win another one. Let's take it game by game, and you never know where. You know, in January we could be in a firm chance of making that top 3, and it's very refreshing that we're having these conversations, because a month to 6 weeks ago we had fans saying, "Oh, you're going to be relegated. You're going to be in the top 7, top 8, maybe top 6. Leicester will finish above you." And yeah, it's the first game of the season. We don't want to get carried away, of course not. But I think the mentality of the club has changed. I think Mark's brought that, which has changed the mentality of our fans to change as well. So it's going to be very intriguing to see how we do against the top 3. You know, is it going to be 1-0 losses? Is it going to be 1-1 draws like we had last season? Or will it be like Everton where we lose 4-0? I don't think it will be. But I think it's interesting to see. Simon, just before you go, just your final thoughts on Buddy Shaw. So what kind of season do you think she's had already, and also going into the rest of the season?
Yeah, it's a 3-year deal for Bunny, and I would say on the island of Jamaica, expectations for the first season is about getting her feet wet into English football. I wouldn't say it's a scenario where they're expecting 20, 15 goals from her at all. It's more about settling into the league. If she gets into double figures, 10, 12, for me, I would view that as an accomplishment, because she's coming from France, where she's given a lot more space and time on the ball. And in the opening few minutes at Goodison Park, she got a harsh reality that this is England and we don't give you a lot of space to work with. So I expect it to be that sort of transition for her. Brilliant for her to get a debut goal. She came off after 64 minutes because of an ankle knock, so hopefully she'll be okay. And because we want to see her, especially in the derby, because that game is going to be on the telly in Jamaica, United versus City. So hopefully that we'll be able to see that on the island as well. So in terms of how she'll settle in proceedings, I would give her this first season as a transition period, and next season you'd expect her to blow up the league. That's what I genuinely expect from Bunny. And finally, as it relates to from a United perspective, as we look to Leicester on the weekend, Leicester are the type of team that when they concede, they take like 5-10 minutes to regroup and settle again. We saw it against Aston Villa. They conceded the 63rd minute and conceded the 64th minute. So my advice to the team for this weekend is, if we get that goal, when we get that goal, be assertive, get that second, that third, because they do take time to get a bit of rhythm together.
100%.
That's great. Well, let me just get your prediction then, Simon, before you shoot off. And obviously, me and Natalie can talk a little bit about Leicester for the rest of the show. Do you want to give a score prediction, Simon?
Yeah, I'm going to go United 3, Leicester 0, Elatoon with a brace, and yeah, let's go with Martha with a goal.
Yeah, first goal, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Simon. Thank you so much for joining us as usual.
No, anytime.
No, thank you. Nice to hear your views as a United fan as well. So brilliant stuff. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. It's great hearing a perspective that's not from England, from someone who's watching it from Jamaica. Like he says, they've got BBC there, so they're going to, be watching a lot of the BBC game. I'm guessing they all stayed up to watch Bunny's debut at Goodison, and they would have seen City dominate like that. It's definitely good hearing it another angle. John, do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what I've learned the most about supporting a club since doing what we've been doing on Orpha United is we sometimes get very engrossed in people that we speak to on a day-to-day basis. We've got WhatsApp groups where we speak to maybe a group of 4 or maybe a group of 20, but it's still always the same few people. Whereas what this does is it opens it up to everyone. It opens it up to our rival fans getting involved. It opens up to people who don't live in England. And it's always great to hear people's perspectives, because sometimes I'm fully aware that I'm narrow-minded. I listen to the same 4 or 5 journalists on a regular occasion. But then obviously every now and again I step back and I read everybody else. And I think it's great that we're in this position where we can hear so many different points of view. He was very open in what he said about Skinner potentially being a shock because of his record as Orlando, but then when you speak to a Birmingham fan or a WSL journalist who knows Skinner from the past, it's like it turns out to be a very good appointment. So it's always great to hear different views. And obviously Simon's a United fan, but he's also a journalist and a friend of the show, and it's great just to mix all this in, isn't it? Yeah. Before we talk about Leicester, we will just shout this out. Next week is Thursday, and it's our 1 year anniversary since we've been doing Man United Women's Show on Orpha United. So we've got a special guest planned. We'll bring him. Well, I'm kind of just hinting it's going to be a him. We're going to bring him in next week, and no, it's not Mark Skinner, unfortunately. But no, it's going to be a very not emotional show, but it's a show that we're going to be very proud of because we've been going for 1 year now, and we'll promote it for the next week or so. But yeah, really looking forward to that one. So it'll be a year. And Nat, do you just want to kind of touch on that before we start?
Yeah, I never thought I'd be doing this for a year. I mean, I think I've got my own YouTube channel, and you sort of start it and you give it up, you start and you give it up. But I think being with you and being with the other boys, it sort of motivates you to do it a bit more. Having a team, it's not a big team, it's 4 people, but having a team, having a WhatsApp group, having a Twitter where you are constantly talking about it, where you are pushing it, it does make you sort of do it. And I think having the guys here, 18 people joined in, drop the like on it, share it, people talking about it after, that's what keeps you going, because that's why you want to talk about it. And I think we were in a lockdown and all that kind of thing, we were watching behind closed doors, and this has sort of helped us all in a way get over it, because even if you're in the comments or even if you're watching and talk about it after, you still that conversation, and it gives you that buzz and that hype. Yeah, you can't be in the ground, but now we're back in the ground. It's, I suppose, still knowing in us keeping up and still bringing you that good content. And that's what Thursday's show is going to be. We're back in the ground, but we're still getting the good guests on for you.
Yeah, I think there's 2 things that you just made me think of there. One of my worries about Orpha United WFC was when we went back to games, would we still be able to maintain doing so many shows? And so far, it shows that we're doing that. Which, it works out really well, and it turns out that we're actually doing even more shows now, and we'll do some extra content at the grounds as well. So that was the one thing. And the second thing, I nearly forgot about it. Originally, when we set this up, we wanted to raise awareness for our women's team, and I think we're doing that. We want more people in the grounds, but we've also kind of subliminally helped people throughout lockdown, where we've had guests on the show, and we still have guests on the show now. We have people in the comments who messaged me privately, whether it be through WhatsApp or on Twitter, who've said, you've really helped us through lockdown. We've had something to watch. We've had something to get passionate about. And I think just hearing these kind of things is more important than, just filling the football ground. And I think, you get these voice notes and you hear it in their voice saying how much we've helped them. And I don't know these people, but I do know these people. It's great. And you've got that bond with these people. And, we're very lucky to be involved in this. And it's helped me as well because, this kind of took over my life now and it's made me a lot happier. Not that I was ever unhappy before, but it's made me even happier. And Natalie, I know how much you enjoy it. And I know Ben and Matt really enjoy it as well. So it's just great after 1 year that we're still doing this and we're going from strength to strength. And on that note, please vote for us. We haven't got long left now. So please, if you haven't voted for us, check out our Twitter, check out the pinned tweet. It shows us how to vote there. Thank you, Karen, in the comments. And you're just one person who we've met from doing this channel now. You've come to the stadium for the first time. You've come to the ground, and obviously we now stand next to each other, send each other voice notes, and you're a part of this team, obviously, as well, which we'll put out over Twitter over the next week or so as well. So, yeah, but let's move on to Leicester then. So they lost their opening game. Nat, we won our opening game. I didn't see too much of Leicester, if I'm honest, where I thought to myself, they look a bit dangerous. I never really saw that. What are your thoughts on that?
I think like what Simon says, as soon as they go down, as soon as they concede, the heads go down, whether it's for 5, 10, 15 minutes, I don't know. But I think they started off well. Don't get me wrong, but I think if we get in amongst them, pressing them, and then get like an early goal, and then like what Simon says, be clinical, put it away, get the second, get the third. I think, I said on a different show, you can look at being 3-0 up by half time, and then that's, pretty much game over. I think it's going to be a tough season for them. I mean, I think even when we came up, it's a different kind of league. In the Championship, you get a lot of chances. If you don't take the first one, the second or third will come along. Whereas I think they've sort of realised that in the WSL, if you don't take that one, you won't get any more. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited to definitely be back in a stadium because I've been at everyone else's ground but my own. I'm still waiting to get back at my own. Obviously, this is an away day. Everyone who's watching or has watched these shows and thinking of booking A1, we've got our own little section. So definitely get on that. It's going to be a good day with all the Reds together. And I'm just excited to get back with the Reds singing for a proper game. It means something. Rangers was good, but this is, WSL league games, bread and butter.
Yeah. And on that, if anyone hasn't bought a ticket yet and you're umming and ahhing about it, you can still buy tickets. You can buy tickets on the gate as well, I believe. So we're in Block A. We're all, quite a few of us are on roll AA. So basically, you'll see a line of us, but we are scattered about a little bit due to different reasons. But I always like us more clumped together. Nat, we were talking about it before the show. It's okay over one row of us, but it could be miles from my best mate down there. I like the fact that we're when we're at LSV and you've got people in front of us, people behind us. And I just remember the celebration when Kirsty Hansen scored on the weekend. I was getting it from all angles. I really was. I had Anthony jumping on me like this, and I had I think it was Andy to the right of me, Matt Johnson to the left of me, and Connor, and then got Matt in front of me. And I just like the fact that we're all together, whereas when there's just like one row, it might be a bit of a different atmosphere, but obviously we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, yeah, it sounds like everyone's on the AA row, but I suppose it's about spreading about, mingling, people who probably haven't seen us getting involved, getting closer. I know, like, there's a pandemic, and obviously if people don't want to be jumped on, okay, fair enough. But, if you want to get in, get behind them, red wave crashing against their defence, then definitely I think let's get it rocking, and let's get, an away end bouncing. And whether, like you said, whether you've met us before, whether it's your first game, last game, don't matter. It's about everyone singing and getting behind it. And I think, I'm not going to say, it's done deal, we're going to win. Definitely, obviously, you have to go out there and prove that you want it. But like you said, our players, it's on paper, we won it. It's just about now applying it and playing to the way that we know that we can.
Yeah. I can see Siggy's name in the comments. This was kind of something I wanted to bring up. I've got Siggy on the back of my shirt, and obviously I'll give her, when her name gets read out before the game, obviously I'll be cheering that name. How do you think we can stop Siggy from scoring? Because I don't think she's she did have many opportunities against Villa. I think she had one which was saved. Do you think that we'll change our centre-back pairing a little bit to go for a bit more of a pacey one, or do you think we'll keep with Maria, who is a bit more physical, who can maybe shuffle off the ball? Will Siggy play out wide? I don't know, but
I think they'll play the two like they did. Siggy, he might bring back Millie because Millie's got the pace to keep up with her, and I think that's it. I think running her out to the wings, pressurising her, big strong tackles in against her. But I mean, Siggy's strong too. Obviously, Siggy's one that I think we saw with Jane Ross and Lizzie. LG21 Lizzie is, and you saw the reception that she got. But in the minute the game's starting and it's booting off or whatever, or she's arguing, she's gonna get it. She's gonna say, "Stay in your lane," And she knows that. She loves a bit of banter, Siggy, and it's just about. I think if we play, Manny and Maria, Millie, whoever plays in centre back, I'm not thinking, Flint, I think is good, and I think obviously everyone knows what I think about Siggy, but they might cause an upset. But I'm not sitting here sleepless nights over it, Whereas I think when you play a Chelsea and Arsenal, you think about Miedema, you think about Mead, you think about Kerr and Kirby, Whereas with Flint and Siggy, I think they're good, but I'm sleeping sound over it, It's just about I've got faith in our centre backs and the midfield that they'll keep these guys out, that they won't get their chances. I think Leicester might resort to long balls over the top, but then I'm confident Mannion and Maria will head them away, and I think that's where we can go. I've seen Vicky saying Thomas and Tooney, and I think they, the balls that Tooney are playing, it's not, I think that's where Leicester will come undone, playing those through balls the way that she did it to Hansen. And I think if Thomas, chipping the ball up to her, running onto it, those balls, you saw Hansen running onto a Tooney ball. I think, Leicester will probably be a bit more scared of us than we are of them. Obviously, they're confident. They've won the championship. They're, obviously they see that Villa game as just a one-off kind of thing. But, I think that's the sort of how their game's going to go this season.
I think it's interesting you said that you're not getting sleepless nights out with Siggy. Now, when Siggy was with us, we always raved about her. She was our leading goal scorer the first season. She played out wide and did a job for us there. She played up top. We sang her heart out for her. She scored a few, but she didn't get much game time in the WSL. I think now that we're on the other side of it, I think you hit the nail on the head a little bit there, saying we're not going to get sleepless nights over. And maybe that is, unfortunately, one of the reasons why she did move on as well, because she was never going to be that world-class striker or top-class striker that maybe we need to get to that next level. And I suppose when you're on the other side of it, you can kind of see that. And I'll still stand by it now. If she was to come back and be our third or fourth choice striker, that's still not a bad thing, because I think she'll be a very good fourth choice striker. But when she's a club's first choice striker or second choice with Flint, then it's not as scary, is it? And what I would say is, will it be interesting to see if Jess plays out wide a little bit and then she's against Anna? That'll be interesting to see how them pair get on. And I think Anna would probably. I think she'd come out on top, but I think that would be interesting as well. There's people in the comments talking about, like I say, Martha Thomas up top with Tooney behind. Is that the way you can kind of see this game, like Tooney coming back as a number 10 as opposed to a false 9?
Yeah, I think Tooney was. She was false 9, and shout out to her. She did a great job. But for me, I'm always a fan of Tooney in the 10. I think Casey even said Tooney in the 10. For her, I think Casey even said Tooney in the 10. So I think we saw when she dropped a bit back and she played that ball to Hansen. That's what Tooney's all about. We saw the link up on the edge of the box. That's what she's all about. And I think a game like this, I think we need to get balls over the top. I think even we saw it, John, when we played when second half Villa were running at them, and I think there was times when Abby Mack was a bit. She did well though, but there's times where you saw, they can catch them out. Then they got you there, Abby. So I think that's where I'd be going, playing them balls on the top so that Thomas can run onto it. I'm sure she would be disappointed not to start Thomas, but it is what it is. But then at the same time, Blessing said something earlier, and I'm just going to go back to it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, for me, it was quite comfortable. I know Simon sort of touched on the spaces, and obviously I think Leicester will be looking to take advantage of that. But at the same time, I think Reading are probably a better team than Leicester. No disrespect to either of them or anything, but, and if they didn't really take advantage, I don't think Leicester will do. Sorry, but that's just my opinion.
No, I agree with that as well. You talk about if it's not broke, don't fix it. I agree with that. But let's not forget about what Skinner's been saying about looking at the opposition. And we've got different opposition now. So does that mean you might just change it completely or even just a little bit? We are against different opponents. Will he be thinking to himself now, okay, we're not against such a physical team now. We need to be doing this. We need to be maybe, different formation. Not the different formation for us, but if we're playing against a different formation, will he go something different? I'm surprised that many people have mentioned Russo as well. So, go on, sorry, that's go on.
I think with Russo, I think it's just we're all so sensitive over her, and I think there'll be a few times where she's coming back, and I do actually agree with you. That's what I'm actually really excited about with Skinner. Yeah. I'm excited about he's going to adapt it. He's going to change it up. I think there's going to be 3 or 4 different ways that we're going to see this team play, and that's what we were crying out last time. For Skinner, for Casey to do switch up. I think things like lineup league or guess. I think we could come on and pretty much name the same team over and over. And that's no disrespect to Casey now, but I think with Skinner, I think we're having these conversations. Is it going to be Millie? Is Millie going to come back? Is he going to play Thomas? And this is what you want to sit to know and to do. And even think with Chelsea, we saw that Jonas, whatever his name, he attacked and he said, this is how their weakness and we've got to play to their weakness. And that's what I've heard Skinner said. We play to the opposition's weakness. We know our strengths, but we also need to be able to adapt and to change it. And I just think that's what's got me a bit excited about Skinner in a way, because we are going to see different things.
Yeah. And touching on that, I think we're always going to like play from the back and things like that. But you are right. This false 9 has completely thrown it out. In a positive way, because that's something else that we've got to our Arsenal that we've never really seen before. Talk a lot about Galton and Hansen there being like inverted wingers or more of a 3 up top, but that could always change as well. If we're against more difficult opponents, they can drop back and it'd be more of a 4-2-3-1 where. They might be spending a bit more time in their own half, but they catch them on the counter attack. So I'm looking forward to kind of seeing how that's going to work, because we've got that in our Arsenal and we haven't seen much of that, have we? And of course, someone just mentioned about Balvisa or who you drop in and things like that. We haven't seen anything of. Obviously, we haven't seen much of Lucy standing forth in the previous, much of her, but she's playing really well. If Tooney's playing as a number 10, who's going to be dropping out? It's only a matter of time before Jackie gets back. Katie Zellen's playing well. Harry Ladd we've seen nothing of. This could be a game where all of a sudden throw Harry Ladd in there, then play two midfielders ahead of her, which is a lot more attacking. Could have seen Vilda Balvisa and Jackie play and best Zellen. This is a weaker team. Are we going to kind of shuffle it up completely? We just don't know what to expect, do we? And this is the excitement.
Yeah, that's what makes it exciting, because you just don't know. And I think that, like you say, he will play different. And I think there's even comments where he made to Sky and said, we know that Reading play like this and this, so this is how we played to beat them. And that's what I think we was crying out for last year. I mean, I love when you just say, bang, this is our team, this is how we're going to win. Like what Simon said, 10 unbeaten. We believed in ourselves. We did it. But then I think, we had a few hiccups and it just fell away. And I'm not saying there's not going to be hiccups on the way with Mark. Of course there will be. It's bound to happen. But I think he's got more in his arsenal maybe to be able to switch up and sort of maybe try and change it. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't, but I feel confident that he does, and I'm excited to see it happen.
Yeah, 100%. Just put a few of these comments on screen. Thank you very much for everybody who's commented. It's a great conversation tonight. It really is. If we end up winning this game, we win our first 2 games this season. We have a good pre-season. We as fans feel really positive. We can't just push that to one side and say, "Oh, well, that's what we should do. We should win these teams," because it's still not that easy. Because, like I say, we've been through a lot in the last few months, and we could easily slip up. We could have slipped up against Reading. Reading's been, they're a tough team. Won us last time. Leicester, I think they are slightly overrated and overhyped at the moment. But still, they're still a good team that got promoted, got some good players, and obviously they'll be at home. If we do win these 2 games, it's not something that we should think to ourselves, "Oh, well, we should win." I think we should be proud of that, and then obviously that will give us a bit of momentum going into Chelsea games, City games as well. I think we should be proud of winning these games.
I think we saw in pre-season, Everton won against Brighton. And I mean, yeah, we drew against Brighton, but Everton are the best thing since sliced bread. We've won against Reading, and say we win against Leicester. Oh, well, you should be beating them. It's never. No one will ever give you the credit. You have to earn the credit, unless you're some other teams and people think that they deserve everything, and because they did one thing, I don't even know. But and I'm sure we'll get onto that in other shows. But listen. You have to earn it. And when it's Man United, you have to earn it even more, because I think Casey's always mentioned it. Mark is being told it in his thing. Now you're playing at Man United, everyone wants to beat you. It's not just a case of, when they play against Chelsea, I don't think that they want to beat Chelsea, European finalists, double winners, free time in a row, whatever they've done. That doesn't mean as much as when you play Man United, because they know that Man United has the biggest, highest viewing figures, that everyone's going to be watching them. Look at us all going there, bringing all the fans that we're going to bring. Leicester, I remember I seen them. I was waiting for Jess, and I saw some other players, and I saw Wardy, and it was, who are you supporting? What's going to happen? Do you have a drum? What's this? What's that? Asking all these questions. Oh, but remember this. Listen, I don't care about nothing. I just care about what's going to happen. And, how many this? And I think there's all this hype and worry. But that's what he wants. He wants that energy, because I think I think we've seen with a lot of these stadiums, there's about 5,000, 1,000, however many that came, but it wasn't the same. If you watch a few games back, I didn't feel the same, and obviously because I know probably half the songs. But when I was watching City and Everton, I didn't hear a lot of. You heard noise when things happened, but you didn't hear constant singing. Yeah. When I was watching Arsenal, Chelsea, I heard it in pockets, but not loud, not the whole 8,000, or not even close to 1,000 probably was singing, and that's a difference that in a way that we bring to the league, that it's going to be bang, 90 minutes, boom, throughout. If Anthony's still watching, he made a very, very, very good, he was keeping it up. When it went quiet, I could hear him again. That's the kind of stuff. You don't just stay silent. If you concede a goal, if you make a mistake, don't stay silent. Bang. Yeah. Keep going. And it's that persistentness, relentless, and that's the difference between maybe, that's why we're the 12th player, and that's the difference between our support and I suppose the rest of the support in the league. And I think it's going to be really key, and I've said it on many a TV program, a radio station. It's going to make the difference this year, fans being back, especially our fans.
Nat, we'll just put this one on screen, and then we'll kind of go through our starting 11 prediction, goal scoring prediction, goal scorers prediction, and then we'll wrap up for tonight. But yeah, just it's a comment that John put on the show, and put on the screen there. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that one, mate?
It won't happen. Yeah, she won't give anything, and then will she kiss the badge? She's a United fan, mate. Come on. Yeah, listen, if she scores, she might celebrate. No one is saying, oh, don't celebrate. Obviously you'd be happy and you scored, but I don't think she's going to run over and do all this and do all that. No. Well, she might even, but I can't see it. I don't think she's that kind of girl. I think she appreciates support. I think she appreciates the fact what we came to actually see her against Thingy. I'm sure she'll even, if people are Siggy after, I'm sure she'll come over to the United end and start speaking to a few people who probably missed her, not got a chance to give her that proper goodbye. And I'm sure she'll get like a little chant before and then claps after. I'm sure she'll definitely come over and clap the United fans. Yeah. But yeah, if she celebrates a goal, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm not I'm worried, but I'm not overly concerned over Leicester. I'm more concerned over Reading than maybe Leicester. I think Leicester have got good talents, good young talents, but we should have enough. And as long as we play our game and we're up for it, the levels that we brought to that Reading game, it's fine for me.
Sounds good. So that just leaves to some predictions then. So starting lineup, goalkeeper. Do you think she'll stay with Earps or
should I just run through what I think?
Yeah, go on, mate.
From start to finish. So I think Earps, Blundell, Mannion, I think Maria, but it could be Millie. Honor, I think Zellum, Risa.
You can say the same as me. That's go on.
Tooney.
Yeah.
Hanson, Leah, Thomas.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the same.
Yeah, well, I was going to go for Russo instead of Thomas. So we saw Russo come back a little bit on the last game. Is she now ready? Hopefully she is, or maybe she can have a bit of a run out and then get subbed off after 60 minutes.
Maybe.
So I pretty much agree with you there, Nat. Or we might do a complete curveball and put Staniforth in, or is it time for Jackie to come back now? I don't know. But yeah, I agree with you, Nat, but just maybe Russo instead of Thomas. Score for me, I've gone for a 2-0. I know I don't want to give anything away for Anthony's show tomorrow, but he's going for a win. So if you want to check out his predictions at 12 o'clock tomorrow midday, do that. I'm going to go for a 2-0, and I think I went for a Russo goal and a Katie Zellum goal. That's what I've gone for. Score prediction and scorers, Nat?
3-1. Tooney, Risa, and Russo or Thomas. So one of the forwards. And I think, I think Jess could score. Yeah. And I would be happy. If she did, consolation goal, that's okay.
Absolutely.
But yeah, 3-1 Man United.
Yeah, it looks like we're all going for a United win. And it's been a great show. Thank you to Simon Preston for coming on. I really appreciate that. Plans for the rest of the week. It's Thursday now, so yeah, midday tomorrow we got Anthony's show. Friday night fan forum with myself, Andy O'Nine's will be on, and a few others as well. Saturday night live, Ben and Matt, and obviously we'll have some match day content on a Sunday. So 7 days across 7 days this week, absolutely brilliant. Join us on Instagram, vote for us on the FCA, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, and we shall see you again very soon. Thank you to everybody.